almost exactly the same thing.
I do think there have to be consequences for abject war crimes. If you're doing something that is just completely unlawful and ruthless, then there is a consequence for that. That's why the military said it won't follow unlawful orders from their commander-in-chief. There's a standard, there's an ethos, there's a belief that we are above what so many things that our enemies or others would do.
He called those Democratic lawmakers the seditious six, and he accused them of spreading despicable, reckless, and false information in their video that they made earlier this month. A video that sounds virtually identical to what he just said there. Just a factual statement that unlawful orders are expected to be rejected. And in this case, now there's real questions about whether or not those unlawful orders actually came, and whether anybody actually said anything about it.
Well, I don't think they engaged in sedition, the Democratic lawmakers, but I do think they were trying to shred this chain of command. They were eliciting members of the military to maybe get themselves court-martialed for not following legal orders.
Why? Why would you say that? Because when they say
it was clickbait.
Don't follow unlawful orders,
every person in the military knows they're not supposed to follow illegal orders.
Then why did Vincent say it in 2016?
They knows that. He was talking theoretically. Of course, they all think they all know they should not sponsor. No, it was all a publicity stunt to drive up donations.
I don't understand how you can hear someone say don't follow illegal orders, and then you hear they're really trying to say don't follow.
If they believe there's an illegal order being given, they have an obligation to tell us what it was.
Okay, well here we have a potentially illegal order in a double tap airstrike. Somebody it may be the case that somebody should have said, sir, that's illegal. And if that had happened, where would we be right now?
I want to go.
What would have happened to that person?
If the lawyers who are in charge of deciding if it's legal or not said it was legal, then of course the troops are supposed to assume it's legal. That's why the DOJ weighs in on these things.
We don't know that, but I'm asking the question. What happens in that scenario?
There actually is a presumption of lawfulness to military orders because, as you can imagine, the military can't really function if everybody is questioning orders all the time. Having said that, I don't think what the lawmakers said was illegal, and I don't think what Pete Hegseth said was illegal. I don't think that there was anything really that controversial about it, and I believe it came from a good place. I think people were concerned of something happening exactly like what we were seeing happening now. I think they were genuinely concerned that they may be in a position where they don't feel clear enough to speak up. And when you are looking at the context of what is happening in the Caribbean and outside of Venezuela, even just our standing to be there is legally debatable. And I think most reasonable scholars will tell you that. And so you're already starting off on a very unclear foot in terms of your legal authority to be where you are. And when you are asking people to kill somebody, when you are in a strike cell and you are asking American soldiers to kill somebody else, to take that on as a responsibility, as a moral responsibility and as a military responsibility through their official duties, that is a very serious ask of American service members. And they deserve to have ironclad legal justification to do so.
They do. You're right. I agree with that. And they should have a presumption that it's been legal. And I think that they did have that in this case. On the third day of Barack Obama's presidency, he ordered drone strikes. They killed 20 civilians. He would go on to order 500 drone strikes. These same Democrats who are up in arms about these strikes in Venezuela said boo about any of Barack Obama's drone strikes.
Well, that's not true. A lot of us were talking about them. I don't think that's true.
I don't think it's true. And I deployed under Barack Obama to Iraq, and we reported civilian casualties. We had reporting requirements to Congress. So people were involved in that. And by the way, the person who authorized the strike for each of those was there for it.
But their protocol was that it had to go through an interagency legal approval, which we're now told these strikes also did. We're going to find out more. We're going to find out. Roger Wicker says we're going to investigate and find out. But we're told that happened here too.
But you said something in the break, which I think is the crux of this. You said if they called it regime change, I'd like it better. This thing, looks like regime change, smells like regime change, acts like regime change, and they're trying to make it all about a war on non-existent drugs to the U.S.
It's not non-existent. It's not on it. This week, the Wall Street Journal says Venezuelan gangs flooding Europe with cocaine because the Colombian pathway is too
so
clogged.
let Europe go bombing. Why are we bombing?
You think the cocaine only goes to one country?
No, but I don't think from Venezuela it comes to this country. I think it goes to Europe.
Other cocaine comes to us, and a lot of fentanyl comes to us, and that is
Let's go get it all. Let's stop
Margaret
it all.
Donovan, thank you very much for being here. Second day in a row. Next for us, as a fraud scandal erupts in Minnesota, Donald Trump attacks the state's entire Somali community.
I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you.